because I wasn't old enough to get in on my own, I used to stand down the bottom of Mason Street with my ninepence, and people that were coming up, I'd say, like, will you take one in, please?
As a teacher, it was always our end of term treat to come here. The whole school would come along on a fleet of coaches, and it was always a wonderful morning out or afternoon out.
You would be tasked with being the younger member of the family at the time by my mother-in-law to make sure I got the good seat.
It was a really family affair. It was a super little cinema.
Your relatives would turn up and merge with you into the crowd and sort of tusserings, etc. But the thing is, everybody knew everybody in the queue. You literally, your next door neighbours were coming to the pictures with you to watch a big picture.
Well, my earliest memories of the cinema were told to me by a neighbour who lived across the road from me. And she'd gone to the cinema when she was a young girl of 5 years of age on the very first day it opened, which was the 26th of December 1927. She was 5 years old. And her father had taken the family to see this new fandangled idea. So Mum, Dad, 4 brothers and B had all gone along. I can remember going as a child to Saturday matinees and various things. I remember going with my mum to see Bambi. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house at that one. And then as I got older, Mum took me to see, I must have been about 10 or 11, I think, when I went to see Ben-Hur. And I think it was about 3 hours long. And if you can imagine a youngster trying to sit still for that long, it was a really boring film. But I can remember the chariot race. That was good.
My dear memory of this place is a place which basically united the village. It was a place where locals came and you'd know all your neighbours, they'd all be standing in the queue, all trying to bunk in because they knew each other, like, you know what I mean? But I don't mean bunking into the cinema, I mean bunking into the queue, like. you would be tasked with being the younger member of the family at the time by my mother-in-law to make sure I got the good seats. So I'd have to be sent off and I'd have to queue. And if this, the show started at 7 o'clock, I'd be here at 5:30 making sure that we had to get their particular seats. And there's some nice comfy seats at the back, which we always had to insist on having.
Yeah, so that was came back to my mind the other day. Yeah, we'd be thinking about all kinds as we leave. Yeah. So I remember the Woolton Cinema, and I remember the first film I took my mum to see, A Hard Day's Night. So that must have been 1964, probably when I'd left school. I'm feeling very grown up because I was taking my mum to the pictures.
I just think it was absolutely lovely, the picture house.
Yeah.
And the seating and everything, was so comfortable when you sat down in there. If you weren't interested in the film, you'd fall asleep, because they were so comfortable. The chairs were lovely, the seating was lovely, and the staff were always so nice. And they had a little kiosk as you went in where you paid your money, and then there was sweets, little part where you could buy sweets and that sort of thing a bit further along.
Best earrings in today. People have mentioned the question of selling ice creams. Now, I will know that the manager did get into a certain amount of, shall we say, controversy over his ice cream policy, because he didn't just sell ice creams outside. He would stop the film in the middle of a performance specifically to sell ice creams. And modern day films aren't really designed to have an interval. So at some point about halfway through, the film would grind to a halt, the curtains would close, and then the ice cream seller would be illuminated. And there wasn't a set time for the ice cream break. The ice cream seller had to sell the ice creams. And when all the ice creams were gone, or everyone had an ice cream, then the film could resume. I'm saying this because my daughter was an usherette here. It was her holiday job, and when she was at school and university from about the age of 16, and sadly it was her job to sell the ice creams. And when the film would stop, the spotlight would be on Sarah in her ill-fitting navy blue nylon uniform, and she would be there with the ice creams and have to sell them.
There's a walk, yeah. Turn left and it's first left. Hi, love. Yes, fine, thank you. Still put me in this thing. But he said to Rod Davis, I've left your banjo there because I know you went home for some lunch. I know John could be a bit of a troublemaker in the cinema, I don't know if you've done it, you're probably not the same now, but we used to get bits of paper, ring them up into a little ball and flick them. And as they caught the light from the projector, they'd light up, wouldn't they? So, that Lennon fella out. I was walking down Mason Street, and as I was getting there, there was 4 people turning away from the box office. And some man said to me, they're full up. Right. And then this woman said, no, there's one seat. You've got one seat left. So I thought, all right. So I went to the box office and I said, I believe you saved me a seat, He said, yeah, we got one left. I said, I've just told my wife to go back home. Well, she was not happy with that. It was a joke, but she wasn't happy.
I think initially I was a lot more optimistic when this started. You know, we've now been waiting 4 years for something to come along the line, and the market's changed. I'm still a bit optimistic that we can get to the situation, but we need either answers from the owners themselves in terms of what they're going to do, or they need to give it up and we potentially look at other options there to turn it back into a cinema. I don't know what the future is here. The building is decaying and we can see it from the outside. Whoever is going to make a decision on what happens here going forward, they've got a lot of work cut out. For me, at this moment, I want answers in relation to what's happened to particularly the public money, particularly the Cultural Recovery Fund that was administered by the British Film Institute. You know, that's public money there that has been used to do some work here, but as far as I can see, there's very limited work here. Private fund that people have organised in the community. We want answers on that as well in terms of what specifics you've been sitting on.
We used to have our own swimming baths, we had our own library, we had our own cinema. Slowly but surely, all those facilities have gone from the village. So I think the fact that the cinema is now gone is just one more indication that the village is transforming from, you know, what actually is a conservation area.
It's in private hands and it's entirely up to the owners. We all know that they took some money during lockdown to keep them going and to give an opening date, and it's not happened, and in the meantime the building is steadily falling down. The owners have issued various statements saying that they hope to open soon, but, well, 4.5 years and counting.
There was the Cultural Recovery Fund, which was administered during COVID, and the government, as we know, with a number of different recovery funds, gave a specific amount towards independent cinemas and I think towards theatres as well. And that was administered by the British Film Institute. And they set a number of criteria for independent cinemas to bid for that. My understanding from looking through the documents of the BFI is that there were 2 rounds where the Woolton Picture House was successful, and I think they were in total looking at around about £60,000 in total, and that's public money that's come towards, and that can be used for things in terms of keeping the ongoing running of the cinema going. And of course, you know, a lot of places obviously couldn't open, but they still had overheads and stuff like that. And my understanding from looking through the document that was provided for applications on that is that you had to stick to certain criteria. So part of that was actually informing people that you're in receipt of the Cultural Recovery Fund, putting it on your social media, putting it on your website. It was only really through the digging, and then I asked subsequent questions through letters and contacting the BFI directly, that they admitted to be in receipt of the Cultural Recovery Fund, and they said, well, we've used this for various overheads. To date, the BFI have largely said they've been okay, they've had contact and that they felt that everything was adhered to. I'm still not entirely convinced that everything as part of the criteria that is mentioned within the government's own handbook towards this has been adhered to.
This is a community cinema, and it's been a community cinema for 27 years. Opened on the 18th of July 1997. Why is it so good and why is it so popular? First of all, it's about people being able to come and see a film at affordable prices. When you charge, as we do now, £4.90 and £5.90, compared to what other cinemas charge, it is a no-brainer really. And all the money that we raise goes back into this place. We have no people who are getting money out of it. We don't have any. We have a board of trustees, but we don't have any people who are shareholders or anything. So you can see by just looking around, and you'll see on the film that it is an iconic building. It's Art Deco and modern, which complements each other. It's been here since 1939. This is, I would say, and I know I'm biased, is the best cinema in the United Kingdom. And it's got everything for it. It's got great staff. It's got great volunteers who have committed all their time free to keep this place going. If it wasn't for them, we would struggle. We have things that are affordable, where people can come in and come as a family. So you don't have to worry about paying £10 and £20 for a ticket. You just pay £5.90. And we got all the refreshments and sweets and confectionery, all at affordable prices. And the people now, all that money goes back into this building. And that's why we've survived as long as we have. And the nostalgia is a big part of it. For the cinema to be here since 2nd of September 1939 and celebrating 85 years this year is a testament of what this place is all about.
Somewhere down the line, either with its current owners or something else, it was turned back into a cinema. That would just be an amazing result, and I would use it in an instant. You know, the last time I was there was a special Halloween event where I took my daughter to watch Ghostbusters 1, I think it was, and we had there was a nice little feel about it.
Perhaps they could restore it to maybe use as the library, which was taken away during the times of austerity. Maybe they could use it for a local youth facility, I don't know. But I'd hate for it to especially being a conservation area, I'd hate for it just to become another wine bar or another eatery.
But it was very, very popular cinema. It's such a loss to the whole village that it's no longer open. It was a real magnet for people to come to.
It's a tremendous loss. It's a community. It was part of the community. It was a community hub.
So it's always a nice thought, the Woolton Cinema.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, it can be a cinema
again.